Hi guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. Back at our regular time slot, 10 a.m. Saturday, August 30th, 2025. And it was kind of cool this morning, Eli, been having some good weather in the Northeast. And I know this was a big week for you. So how was your first day at Seton Hall University?
Well, the first week at CNL went really well, and glad to be back here for another episode. And as you mentioned, the weather is cooler out. Every morning I left around 6:30
Yeah,
to get to school for the 8 o'clock class, and I could tell you it was cold. I had a jacket on, I was ready to put the winter coat back on. But and
yeah,
that's great. Where it's got reminds you of the fall weather, and that fall weather reminds you of one thing: football is
football.
back. And that leads us right into the monologue now. And to kick off, sponsored by Coriano Trucking. Jim, kick it off for us.
Okay. Well, the monologue this week, not right now, football, but it's more about baseball. And I remember, Eli, you and I talked about it, and I've talked about it on the show that, how expensive it is to go to a Major League Baseball game. And, everybody wants to see the Yankees and Judge, and that's great, but the cost is so high. So I've always said go out, go to a minor league baseball game or do
Yeah.
something, see your local towns play high school football because it really is. Um, it's just fun stuff to watch, and it's a reasonable place. And this was kind of a work event, but it was up at Clover Stadium and home of the New York Boulders minor league
Yep.
team.
Mets
And
affiliate, I believe.
yeah, and I went with a friend of mine, Kenny Backert, who is very knowledgeable on sports. And I got to tell you, Eli, it was really enjoyable. We saw some great, great plays made by these kids. And listen, 98% of them probably aren't going to the major leagues, but they play their hearts out and diving catches. It was great to see. And like I said, it's a reasonable priced ticket. You can get in for $10, $15 and basically sit wherever you want, and it's really enjoyable. So because we talked about this, like how exciting the Little League World Series was in Fairfield, Connecticut, how far they got to make it. So those are kind of feel good stories, but it really was an enjoyable thing. So there is an alternative to Major League Baseball.
And there is, and I've been to a couple of the Somerset Patriots games, the Yankees
Yeah,
Double A affiliate, and I could tell you it's a different atmosphere, and it's really a lot of fun. I mean, they have a mascot which the Yankees don't, and that was pretty cool to see his interaction. And the fans too. There was a lot of decent music. There was a lot of events, games, and competitions, and it was like your traditional ballpark. They had food at a reasonable price. They had
yep,
your take me out to the ball game. It was just your normal, typical game. That was really what made it so special.
yeah, it really was. And I have a picture that we're going to show, a couple pictures later on relating to the Little League World Series as well. So
Yeah,
Eli is a lot. It's almost like where should we start today? It is football season, right?
yeah,
So there was some big news in the NFL yesterday, and
yeah. Let's talk
you know,
about that.
right. So we got college football coming up too. And then we're gonna get back to the NFL. But let's start with the NFL right now. And there
Right.
was like a blockbuster trade, right? And
It was, and it kind of questions a lot of things. Like, really, what were the Cowboys thinking? And what I'm talking about, well, the Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to the Packers in exchange for a defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, and 2 first-round picks. Micah signs a 4-year, $188 million deal. For those who haven't known what happened in this trade,
yeah,
and it was a blockbuster move. And you're kind of questioning, did the Dallas Cowboys really hate Micah Parsons? Because at one point you hear Jerry Jones forgetting Micah's name at one point and mispronouncing. So that's what you kind of question, like, what was the relationship like that made it so, I guess you could say, toxic and forcing this, all right, well, I really got to go now. And for the Packers, though, they're already a hot team to begin with, and entering this season, they just got even hotter. For the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're going backwards instead of forward.
and when you look at it, though, I mean, we'll never know the backstory, right? Because Jerry Jones is kind of
A quiet man.
a very uncertain guy. You never know what you're going to get out of him. But if some of the reports were true that he did offer him to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, then you may be absolutely right that there is something else there that precipitated this move, which was completely shocking. He's one of the better players in the league.
100%.
But apparently something was going on in Dallas, and I can't think that he wasn't at least made the offer that the Packers gave him. But he goes from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers, and
Green Bay just got hotter. Pretty
right,
much
and
that's just the bottom line.
And it's reminiscent of in the older days when Reggie White came to the Packers, and he actually was, Hall of Famer and
Right.
led them to a Super Bowl win. So we'll see. But as we're going to get into our picks later on, the Packers are going to go not as Micah Parsons goes, as Jordan Love goes. So that's
right, and
that's going to be the
one big
key.
thing to notice. But on the defensive side of things, though, Mike Parsons.
Yeah, it's helpful. Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
And
but another big name, Tommy DeVito. I have to bring him up. I mean, he got waived off from the Giants. He's going to the Patriots, and he did confirm that he is leaving his parents' house, and the parents are not going with him to New England. So he's got to do stuff for himself now. But a big name loss in the New York area, but hopefully he has better luck in New England.
Well, yeah, that was certainly notable, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But there was also, there were some other free agents, the McLaurin's deal in Washington, and he becomes one of the top paid wide receivers in the game. So this is that dichotomy that you and I have talked about time and time again. It drives me crazy that these guys are under contract and they're holding out. Play your contract out. That's what a contract is for. And Parsons was under contract, and the Cowboys, they could have kept him. And if he decided to sit out, then they would franchise him the next year. In this situation, he probably was never going to play for the Cowboys again if it went down that road. So, yeah, those are crazy things that happen in the NFL. And right on the heels of the start of the season, which starts this week, right?
Yes,
we have a Thursday and a Friday game.
Yep.
And
by the way, that Friday game is free. And I'm using the word free because how you're watching the show right now on YouTube, you can watch the same way you're watching that Friday football game. Just to let everybody know.
Yeah,
so that's
a couple other quick notes. So this cluster of quarterbacks they had in Cleveland, and one's 40 years old, the other one's 20, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they trade Kenny Pickett now again. So, he's rapidly becoming one of those first round busts, if you will, because he's been on 4 different teams in 4 years. So he goes to the Raiders, and we'll see how that pans out, because your former quarterback for the Seahawks is now running the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And Pete Carroll. Gene Pete Carroll.
Right.
The Saints, they named Spencer Rattler their starting quarterback this week. That was a big name.
That was kind of actually a surprise. I thought they really liked this kid Shuck,
Right.
I mean, he'll be in there because Rattler is not a top flight quarterback in this league for sure. So we'll talk about those guys and their team coming up in our picks. And Eli, let's start with and then we're going to get back to college football because that's a big
I have 2 other notes before we go to the picks real quick. I just want to get to it. The Vikings, they signed Carson Wentz to a new deal, and the Raiders, Amari Cooper is set to return under a new $1 million deal. That was announced this week.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to the picks.
All right, so let's start in the AFC, right? In the East, we have the Jets, Miami, New England, and Buffalo. And from what I can see, I don't see any reason why Buffalo shouldn't have another 12-4 season to win that division. I don't think the Jets are going to go very far. New England, maybe the most improved team in that division. And
100%.
I mean, they got what they believe is their quarterback, and now they have an outstanding running back in Travion Henderson. So I wouldn't be surprised if they move up and finish in second place. Whether they make the playoffs or not so sure. Vrabel's got a lot of work to do to rebuild what's kind of been a travesty for the past couple of seasons in New England.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with, as you mentioned, Buffalo Bills, but I have them going 14-3 though this season. I have a lot of faith in this Buffalo team. They're a team that's always going to continue to win this division, but they're not going to go far in the playoff and Super Bowl race, and that's just the bottom line. Coming up in second, though, I'm going to go with Miami. I think I have a little bit more faith in them. I'm going 7-10, and then right behind them, Patriots at 6-11. The Jets, they're at 5-12. We're just going to get rid of them and not even put them in the picture because I have no faith in this New York team. I mean, they couldn't get it done with Rodgers when it first happened. I don't think they can get it done now. And if it does happen, I'll love to be wrong, but I don't think it will happen.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that worries me, about Miami and Tua, and he's one hit away from his career being over with concussions, and then they don't have a plan B, certainly. So,
but again, they use the word concussion. Is it a concussion or is he want time off? That's a question. Because it happens so often now, you have to question: is he faking some of it? And I know we don't never fake injuries. I 100% we will never fake an injury, and I would never say that. But sometimes you question, though, considering it happens so often.
Well, yeah, and that just means he's vulnerable to another big hit, and you got to keep an eye on that. Mm-hmm. So let's go to the North, right, where we have the Bengals, Cleveland, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. Looking like a pretty
decent division.
Yeah, it's a decent division other than Cleveland, right? Because they're
and
not
Pittsburgh.
Go anywhere, right? And it's really hard to pick against Lamar Jackson and Baltimore to win the division. But, you still have the Joe Burrows, and they got Hendrickson back in camp, and Burrow is, top flight quarterback. And Pittsburgh, yeah, I mean, Tomlin's won them, more than 50% of his game. Never had a losing season, kind of thing. But it's still Aaron Rodgers there, so I think that's going to be a weight that's going to pull them down and not be able to overtake Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
No question. I mean, Baltimore Ravens, I think they're going to finish up on top. They're going 11-6. Right behind them, I got Cincinnati because Cincinnati is the next best team in that league, in that division, really, and they're going 10-7. I have Cleveland at third and Pittsburgh at fourth, but with the same record at 6-11. I think Mike Tomlin finally has a losing season. I think one big part of it is Aaron Rodgers. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers, not one bit. And you can't keep telling me that Pittsburgh is going to have a continued winning season, but then they're going to lose every single playoff game and not succeed to the playoff, go further in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. It's getting annoying at this point for Pittsburgh, and I think the road ends here. They go to fourth place, 6-11. They end up last in the division.
Yeah, I mean, clearly Baltimore is the class of that division,
right?
But Joe Burrow is still Joe Burrow, and even though they get off to a slow start every single year, they rally back late in the season, and they do. I think we're aligned there pretty much.
We are,
right? Let's go to the South with Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Houston. It's a little difficult.
I don't know if it's difficult, but
I mean, Houston's probably the class of
Houston's the winner. I think we can admit that.
I agree with that too.
And I have them going 9-8. I think Jacksonville's in second at 7-10. I think Jacksonville's going to look a lot better this year, personally. Indianapolis and Tennessee, they're at the bottom, third and fourth, because Indianapolis, their quarterback situation is just the main issue. I mean, you have Daniel Jones starting. How is Daniel Jones going to be? That's why I only have them going 5-12. Tennessee, I have them going 4-13. I don't trust Tennessee at all. And I think this one's, I guess you could say, the weaker division of the AFC, as you will.
Yeah. Well, the team that I don't trust, as you put it, is Jacksonville. I'm starting to really question Trevor Lawrence and whether he's worth the $45 million they're paying him.
Well, obviously not
yet. But let's say Travis Hunter will be a welcome addition for him. So that gives him an additional weapon. But Houston and CJ Stroud will bounce back after kind of a mediocre sophomore season after his rookie season was outstanding.
Right.
And Tennessee, I don't know. I don't know that Cam Ward didn't look all that ready to me to be the starting quarterback in this league. But He was the number one overall pick, but yeah, I'm going to take Houston to win the division, and I think Daniel Jones and the Colts will win more than 6 games.
Really?
Yeah, I
I
do.
don't know if I could trust that.
I'm kind of hoping, you know what I am, because I've been on his bandwagon for years, and
Oh
you
yeah.
know, if he can't pull this one off in Indianapolis, then
Then
yeah,
that's it for him.
yeah, that takes the blame off the Giants, and it's the individual, not the team around him. So we'll
Right.
see.
And
And
I think we already know who the first place winner is in the AFC West. And I
yeah,
think there is no question. And if you want to disagree with me, you can disagree with me, but I think we already know who the winner is. And I think that's Kansas City. And they're going 14-3. That's my prediction.
well, everybody seems to be jumping on the Chargers bandwagon, and you know, yeah, Justin Herbert's a really good player. Is he in that kind of elite class? Well, we're going to find out
Mhm.
because that is Denver's much improved.
That's what I have. I have
Yeah,
Denver in front. They're going 10-8-7, in my opinion. I think Chargers going third, 9-8. Raiders at 8-9. I think it's going to difficult division. It's going to come down to a lot of games. But personally, in my opinion, though, the Denver Broncos look like a better team. They have a potential to even possibly go to first if Kansas City decides to ever slack off, as you will, in this
yeah.
season.
Now, there was one note that came out of Denver, which is, you know, kind of close to my heart because Audric Estime, former St. Joe's standout in high school and Notre Dame standout, running back, was released by Denver. So I thought they had I thought they liked him. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it's an injury or not, but yeah, they're gonna go as Bo Nix goes, and it seems like um, you know, the head coach certainly, Sean Payton, seems to like him. So we'll see about that.
Absolutely.
But yes, do not forget about Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City.
No question. You cannot
You
forget
know,
them.
so I'm going to take, even though, like I said, I'm not a big believer in the Chargers. I'm going to think they're going to win this division with
Really?
Kansas City coming in certainly in second. And you know, if the Chargers win 13 games or 12 games, Kansas City's going to win 10 games, 11 games, and get in the playoffs one way or the other. So we'll
No
see.
question. But you keep underestimating this Chiefs team, though. I don't know.
I don't underestimate Patrick Mahomes, not one bit.
I
But
don't know. You're not having them win the division, so I don't know.
well, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. Let's move to the NFC East,
Yeah.
Eli.
Mhm.
And this is, you know, when you look at it now, what's happened with Dallas, they don't look like they're going to be contentious, you know, be
Well, you
able
have
to
two teams.
contend. The Giants, yes, I like what I see. They got some more players than they did last year, but I don't know that they could even still win, you know, as many as 8 games, which would kind of be a success story. But the question is, when will Wilson give the reins to Jackson Dart? And like I said, the start of their season is very, very difficult from a schedule perspective.
Right.
Um, and Philadelphia, you know, I mean, they're Philadelphia. They're as good as they on paper as they were last year. And but here's the big question: is Washington? That's the wild card in this particular division. And like I said, Jaden Daniels now is in his second season. They got McLaurin signed, and they look pretty good on paper. But I'm still going to have to take the Eagles to win the division at 12-4.
Well, a lot of people are saying that, but here's one note that everyone forgets when we pick in the NFC East. There is never a repeating division winner. That's
Mm.
one thing. So if we eliminate the Eagles and we can eliminate Dallas and New York, the clear winner here is the Washington Commanders. I have a ton of faith in Jaden Daniels. It's a new team, better team. And I think they're going to go 13-4 and win this division strong. I have Philadelphia coming in second at 12-5, Dallas at 8-9, and New York last at 4-13. I don't trust New York one bit. I don't trust the Russell Wilson aspect of it. I don't think that I can't trust the New York team right now, unless you're the New York Liberty, and that's WNBA, not football related.
All right. Well, that's for another day. But
Yeah.
you know, I do see the Giants as improved, but I don't think they're still a contender. So I agree with
No.
you there. We go to the North, and this is an interesting division here.
Yeah.
Right? You got the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Chicago Bears. And is Caleb Williams capable of taking the Chicago Bears to the next level? Well, I'm going to say so far from what I've seen, I'm not 100% certain. I know he's talented and so forth, but I don't think he's talented enough to win the division over Detroit or Green Bay. And that's kind of going to be a toss up. Yes, they have Parsons there now, but as we talked about before the show, the Packers will go as Jordan Love goes, and that's an important aspect of it. But I still like Detroit to win the division neck and neck with Green Bay, and Minnesota. There's two to pick them, even though they got a lot of talent on the team. JJ McCarthy, we know nothing about, how he's going to perform under the spotlight in Minnesota. And certainly Carson Wentz is not any kind of a backup that you would have confidence in if something does happen to McCarthy. So I still like Detroit to win the division, but only by a game over Green Bay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Green Bay to win the division, 11-6. I think that they are the best team. They added to Micah Parsons, so they are just fully loaded. They're ready to go. Second place, I'm going to go with Detroit at 10-7. I think it's a little bit of a downgrade considering what happened last year. So I have them second place. Third, I'm going to go with Chicago. I have a little bit more faith in them. I'm going 9-8. Fourth place, I have Minnesota, 8-9. I don't think they can get that lucky this year, and that's why they finish in fourth place.
Okay. Well, it's the old black and blue division, so let's see how it pans out. But that's
Yeah.
move to the south, right? Where we got Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Carolina, and Atlanta. Probably, when you look at this division, I don't. If Baker Mayfield has the kind of season that he did have last year, then Tampa should win this division. I don't see the Falcons as being a contender here, even though Penix is, he's starting to develop, but I don't know that they have the personnel around him to be a contender in there. And New Orleans, like you and I, the Taylor Shuck, Spencer Rattler debate, whatever. Yeah, they don't have a lot of potential on there. And Carolina, listen, I loved them at Alabama, but I do not have a lot of confidence in Bryce Young. So I'm going to take Tampa to win that division rather easily, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay here to win the division 9-8. Atlanta 8-9. I think they're right just behind them. I have Carolina going 6-11, a little bit of an improvement, but not a winning season. And New Orleans at 4-13. I don't have a lot of faith in this New Orleans team. There's just a lot of injuries. There's a lot of questions to be answered. I don't see them going far.
Yeah, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But yeah, Tampa should probably win at least 10 games. So.
Yeah, no question. At least 9 or 10.
Yeah.
It's
all right. Let's go to the West, the final division here. Arizona, Rams, San Francisco, Seattle. And you just never know what you're going to get with San Francisco because they seem to get decimated with injuries and they no longer have Samuel. So some of those weapons are gone. And again, is Brock Purdy the answer? No, he's certainly not in the elite category in my book, but he is a serviceable quarterback. And then you have your Seattle Seahawks. It should be interesting when you give me their pick. I don't see them being that relevant either. But the whole dilemma for me is this Arizona team. And I'm not a big believer. I've been very critical of Kyler Murray. I just don't know that he has that leadership ability to take this team to the next level. And he's making a lot of money. But when I look at that division, I think you have to go with the Rams. But this is all dependent on whether or not Matthew Stafford is healthy. And we know he's been dealing with some back issues. He's been in the league a long time. So we're going to find out about that. And Garoppolo is the backup there. But I do like the Rams in this division. And again, it's going to go for San Francisco their season, whether they win 10 games or 11 games or 9 games. is, can Christian McCaffrey stay healthy? And that's
That's the question.
always been the question. So
Well,
I'm going to take the Rams to win the division, Eli.
not because I'm biased and because I'm a Seahawks fan, but I'm going to have Seattle win the division. And I'm just keeping out of the Seattle bias thing. Here's my reason why. I don't trust this Rams team right now and Stafford's health. I feel like if an injury happens, that's the Rams season potentially. Much can you trust the back? How much can you trust this team to go far? And considering you're in a tough division. So I Seattle going 10-7, win the division. Rams right behind in 9-8. Because maybe they could stay healthy and stuff. Maybe they'll, can get lucky for the first couple weeks. And that's what's going to help them stay 9-8, but not enough to win the division. San Francisco and Arizona, 3rd and 4th, 8-9 is what I'm having them at. I don't know if I could trust San Francisco just as much yet. And Arizona, I don't trust them a lot, like it did in the past.
Well,
So
let me ask you, as a Seahawks fan, do you believe Sam Darnold's season last year with Minnesota was a fluke, or do you think he is ready to turn it up and become the number one draft pick that he once was and performed?
Well, I think he is going to perform very well in Seattle, and I don't think it's a fluke. Remember, this Seattle team is, I guess you could say, a brand new team. New receivers, new everything. This is pretty much a brand new Seattle team in terms of receivers, in terms of everything. So
Absolutely.
he's going to a brand new environment, so he can make it however he likes. And I think that's what's going to help make the Seattle team very good. And it's not going to be a fluke, as you will.
Okay. All right. So those are our, listen, we'd love your comments and on our commentary, and you know where you could do it. You could send us, of course, a comment during the show, or.
But now we got to pick our games for this week, Thursday and Friday.
We do. And there's 2 games this week. So
yeah, let's go for it.
First one, Dallas, Philadelphia. And
yep.
You know what's crazy, though? On paper, you can't help but not pick the Philadelphia Eagles over the Cowboys, because the Cowboys just seem like so in disarray right now. So I'm, but I'm not going to be shocked if something, happens. But I think Philadelphia should take that game. They are home, so I think that gives them the advantage over this. And, am I a Jalen Hurts guy? Is he a top 3 quarterback in this league? I don't know, but he's got a Super Bowl ring, so he gets a free pass in my eyes. But I'm going to take Philadelphia in the Thursday game. An interesting game, because we talked a little bit in detail about the Kansas City and the Chargers. It'll be those 2 teams that battle out for that division. But I'm going to take, even though the Chargers are home, I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to pull the upset on the road at Los Angeles.
All right.
And remember, this is Eli. This is our first week of picks, so we'll have the scoreboard posted regularly.
The standings chart. We'll see who gets that crown. Of course, hopefully it's not a tie and we don't have to split it. But it's my crown now this year. But here are my picks for this week. My survivor pick for the week, because that's how we did on the 12 Horseshoe Show. My survivor pick, Philadelphia, 28-17, the final. I don't like this game at all, considering that this is your week 1 game. There's so many other better games you could put for Philadelphia to open up the season with, and this is who you open up with. I don't like it at all. Cowboys are in all kinds of directions right now. They have no idea what they're doing. They got rid of Micah Parsons. Clearly, it's an ownership problem. So that's why I have to pick Philadelphia. I really like this Chiefs Chargers game, and that's in Brazil, by the way, and that's on YouTube. So that's what makes this game interesting.
Ooh, yes, it is in Brazil.
It's not a home, even though you could say one of the teams is home. I believe the Chiefs are, but it's in Brazil. So that's what makes it different for both these teams. New environment, new playing field, and it's a Friday night, 8:00. It's on YouTube. So I'm going to go Kansas City in a close one, like they always do, 24-22 in another close game.
All right. Well, we have the same picks here, so we're either going to get off. We're going to get off to the same start one way or the other.
We either go down or do or die together.
Yeah. So
it is 0-0, no crown for both of us.
And it is. It's the start of the season, so we will do our picks. We'll do our the rest of our picks for next week on Saturday's show upcoming, which may be at 9 a.m. this week.
Yes, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Yep.
Let's go to
Okay.
college football.
Yeah. What a big day.
It really is. And what a way
Yeah.
to say, game day's back, big noon kickoff on Fox is back. That's just some of the best pregame shows on this planet in terms of a sports program. And I think
Mhm.
you can agree with me on that one, especially college game day.
Not on. Yeah, that I do. Not on Fox. I don't. No.
I don't agree about the Fox one, but ESPN college game day, I think that's one of the best pregame shows,
Absolutely. And
no
today's a
question.
very special
And
game
especially,
day.
yeah,
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
right. But let's talk about the big games that are happening today, at least. We gave our top 5 games. We picked the 5 games earlier in the show. We pretty much agreed on them. And let's go down the list of the best 5 games for today. Well,
Yep.
obviously, Texas, Ohio State, 12 o'clock on Fox. No question, one of the best matchups of this entire window of today.
Yep.
And it can go either way. But I like this Ohio State team and home field advantage and everything there.
Well, they're going with a first-year quarterback, first college start, so they got their hands full. But yeah, I do like Ohio State at home today too.
The next best big game on Syracuse, Tennessee. That's our next best
Mm.
game on the market today. I like that
Well,
one.
there's a couple, but Syracuse, Tennessee is definitely an interesting thing because Syracuse has, they have a new quarterback as well, new head coach, but they have a very, very tough schedule this year, and that's a big task going into Tennessee and trying to beat the Volunteers. So we'll see how
Yeah.
they make out. Yep.
Alabama FSU is the next one on my list. That's at 3:30 on ABC. Another great game to watch out for.
Yeah, we're all waiting to see what kind of Alabama we're going to get this year,
Right.
right? And
LSU
interesting
Clemson,
game,
7:30
sure.
ABC
Yeah.
tonight. Another big game.
That is a big game, and like I said, the Clemson quarterback Kubnik is considered one of the preseason All-American first team. Clemson hasn't been relevant, but I think the change now is Dabo Sweeney wasn't one of those guys that went to the portal, but now he realizes you have to do this. So
Right.
he's going to get more and more talent, and that's going to be a great game. And like I said, I think Brian Kelly's on the hot seat this year. If they don't get into that college football playoffs, he could be done at LSU.
And the last one I have on the list for today, New Mexico, Michigan, 7:30 on NBC. What does Michigan do? That is a big question. That's one of my last games for today's slate of games. And we look at tomorrow's schedule. One of the best games to watch out for, Notre Dame, Miami. That's at 7:30. That will be on ABC. What a great game that's going to be.
No doubt. Can't wait for that. Talked about Notre Dame as the new quarterback, CJ Carr, and Miami, Carson Beck leaves Georgia, goes there. Very interesting game. So yeah, that one's to me. I mean, Ohio State, Texas, of course, because they're 1-3. But that Notre Dame Miami game is going to set the course for both of those teams and how far they go this year.
No question. And we have a comment coming in from Andrew. Good morning, guys. Not so fast, my friends. And that's a great way to say happy Saturday. And thank you, Andrew, for the comment.
I know. I knew we would get a comment from Andy because he texted me this morning about, of course, you're going to mention Lee Corso. And I said, of course, I'm going to mention Lee Corso because
Why don't we talk
Eli's
about
going
it
to
now?
mention. Yeah,
Let's talk
Eli's
about it
going to
now.
mention it, right? And Leah, let's talk about this. And now
Yeah.
Eli, he's been on this show for basically 30 years since its inception. So I've watched him over the years, and
Grow up pretty much as you will.
yeah, he became quite the character. But let's go back in time a little bit. He was the head football coach at Louisville for a couple of seasons, and then he was the head coach of Tom Pugh, Derek Krug's Indiana Hoosiers for 9-10 seasons,
Right.
possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very entertaining, and I actually always enjoyed Lee Corso's insight. And he's 90 years old now, so he's there out there in Columbus with his tuxedo on, and I wish him health and happiness in his future endeavors. But he has been an entertaining character on game day, and I kind of always appreciated his insight. He did know the game of football, college football in particular.
He really is just an incredible person, mentor to Kirk Herbstreit and the rest of the College Game Day crew.
Yes,
And
sir.
he is a legend for sure. This will be pick number 431 for him later on at around 11:45, 12. Uh, and you could just tell he's just like one of us, as you will. And earlier this week, we saw a video. He flew out of Orlando airport on Southwest Airlines. And that is just something that you want to know. Like, he is not a type of person like, all right, let me fly private jet. Let's fly private. A typical airline like Southwest, he's flying. The gate agent made a tribute to him. That was something special to see that he's still one of us, both on the microphone and off the microphone. And that was something really unique about him. And for those who are watching the Fox Big Noon Kickoff, they will also show the headgear pick of Lee Corso because of how special it is. And they also know that the ratings ain't going to be that competable, I guess, as you will.
Yeah, what a character. And yeah, you brought up Herbstreit. Him and Herbstreit have been doing this together for the entire time. So I could see him getting a little emotional today with his
100%.
buddy leaving the booth. Yeah, it's great.
But that connection will never be gone. That's for sure.
You got it.
Let's talk about, I think now, baseball real quick. Well, we have our first team eliminated, and that's the Colorado Rockies. And the best team in both the American League and the National League, Detroit and Milwaukee. And one player in particular I want to talk about, Kyle Schwarber, had 4 home runs the other night on the 28th versus Atlanta.
He did.
What a player he is. Philadelphia in second place at 78 wins. They're a team to watch out for.
It's 21 other major leaguers have hit 4 home runs in one game. And it's funny because this is the first time in baseball history that 3 guys have did it in the same season. We had Nick Kurtz for Oakland, or whatever they called now, the Athletics. Let's leave it at that. And Eugenio Suarez, who's tearing it up this year too. So that's impressive. 21 people have done it. And I remember watching, he's the 4th Philadelphia Philly to do it. And most notably, the last Philadelphia Philly was his Hall of Famer, Mike Schmidt, arguably one of the best third basemen and power hitters in the game. That's why he's in the Hall of Fame. So that was certainly notable. And one other quick point, Eli, Cal Raleigh hits his 50th home run, right?
Yeah.
This guy's having a monster season. So they're
fantastic for him.
Yeah. He's the first guy to hit 50 home runs before September since guy you probably heard of, Aaron Judge did it, and Roger Maris, both Yankees.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The last note for the MLB, next year's opening day will be on March 26th. That was announced this week.
Right. Just one other quick note, Eli, because we talked about somewhere the panic has been setting in for the Yankees and the Mets and so forth. And I said, listen, the Yankees could easily go on a 12-2 run, get right back into the race, and they did. They got back up to second place. So they got 6 wins in a row, and the Mets just destroyed a Marlins team yesterday, embarrassed them by scoring 19 runs, most in a Mets home game ever. So yeah, Major League Baseball is starting to heat up, but we're just overwhelmed with the anticipation of the start of college football and the NFL. So
yeah,
we got plenty of time to talk about baseball. Let's see how the last month shakes out.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the WNBA real quick before random points. I want to get to that real quick. A lot happened overnight in the playoff race. Las Vegas Aces, Atlanta Dream, and the Phoenix Mercury have all clinched their playoff spot for the next round, joining the Minnesota Lynx. Connecticut, Chicago, and Dallas remain the only teams eliminated, and New York is the next potential team to clinch a playoff spot. They have a game tonight versus Phoenix at 10 o'clock. That is a big game. If New York could win, they have a potential to clinching, so stay tuned to that. That's at 10 o'clock on My 9. Most games this weekend are on local TV. One note I want to bring up, Caitlin Clark has not yet returned as we are nearing September. There is no time frame for when she will turn. There is rumors that she may have been practicing a little bit off the court, but still a questionable time to see. Hopefully she does make a return for the final stretch of games. 9/11 is the last official day of games for the WNBA before the playoffs start. Indiana stands at 6th place right now. They can make the playoffs as long as if they don't start following suit, as you will. only the top 8 teams will make the playoffs in the WNBA. And so far, 4 are in.
Okay. But listen, let's before we get to random points, we got to talk because the U.S. Open is now
Yes.
underway with the first Sunday opening round this past weekend, and it was some interesting things that have gone on. Medvedev had this quote unquote meltdown, and he gets knocked out, and but you have the usual suspects, right? But how about Novak Djokovic? He's gotten to the fourth round again. He was battling a back injury last night. But some of the other bigger notes was, of course, Venus Williams playing at 45, and yeah, she won a set, but she didn't seem like she was in the game all that much. But yeah, and you still have the Carlos Alcaraz, and we've talked about these guys, the Fritz, the Tommy Pauls, the Ben Sheltons. Well, Shelton had a withdrawal last night with an injury. So on the men's side, it's still very intriguing. And, could we have another Djokovic Alcaraz match? I mean, it's lining up that way, but we'll see. And on the women's side, of course, I think you got to consider Coco Gauff to be one of the favorites. She's won her first 2 rounds. And Ariana Sabalenka looking for, I think, her first U.S. Open. But that's on the girls' side. I thought one of the most interesting stories was from a 20-year-old Filipino girl named Alexandra Iali. And I'm bringing that up because one of our loyal listeners, Alvin De Vera, had a little, discussion with one of his friends, Armando Ocupo. And because I brought up Alvin's name because he's a loyal listener, Ocampo, actually, the correct pronunciation. So, Armando, yes, that was indeed Alvin De Vera, my friend, loyal listener of the show, who we mentioned last week. And,
That is awesome.
And all right, Eli.
All right, let's go to some random points. And that is going to be sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut.
Yep.
All right, well, I'm going to kick it off, I guess, if that's
all
right. Well, I cannot start random points without saying about the big news. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are officially engaged. They announced this this week on August 26th via Taylor's Instagram. If you haven't heard the news, well, congratulations. You just found out now. Now, one note I do want to take away from it. She announced the engagement 13 days after she appeared on the New Heights podcast. 13 is her favorite number, in case you're wondering. So now the next question is, 13 days from her engagement, could we get another announcement? Now, from when the announcement happened on the 26th, what is 13 days from that? Well, that's September 8th, and that's the first Monday Night Football game of the season. And who's on the Monday Night Football team? Jason Kelce. So could we see her announce that she'll be doing the halftime show for the Super Bowl on September 8th? Only time will tell. We will have to wait for 13 days from the engagement, but congrats to them.
I purposely avoided mentioning her name and Kelsey's when we were doing our divisional winners. So anyway.
I had to bring it up. It was it's a milestone. Another note, Cracker Barrel has gone back to the old timer logo after so much backlash and fans even complaining, and even government officials, including President Trump, getting involved. And now they're going back to the original logo. Thankfully, they listened to the fans.
Incredible.
Could SNL be in trouble? This week, Heidi Gardner, Michael Longfellow, Emily Winkham, and Devon Walker have announced that they will not be returning for the new season, along with some people from the writing staff. Their exit could be personal or because of budget cuts from SNL, but not stated. These are big names and incredible actors and actresses. So what's going on in SNL? Who would be the next to leave? And Heidi Gardner, of course, was known from her big scene this week from Beavis and Butthead, the iconic sketch from this season of SNL, if you don't remember. And that was a big name. YouTube TV and Fox have reached a short-term agreement on Wednesday as contracts were nearing the end. Thankfully, they reached an agreement before the college football window opened up this weekend, and as you will, Saved by the Bell moment. TNT will cover 72 NHL games this season. ESPN Plus will have 47 exclusive games, 37 on ESPN, and 16 on ABC.
Mm.
Matthew Kachuk underwent surgery this week and is expected to miss the start of Florida's season. He had a torn adductor muscle in the playoffs, but is expected to return, especially for Team USA's appearance in the upcoming Olympics.
Mhm.
John Fanta has become the new men's basketball play-by-play voice for NBC and Peacock. He'll be in charge of coverage for the Big East basketball on NBC and Peacock, some Big 10 and Big 12 games, and we'll do studio updates for college football on Peacock Friday nights.
Mhm.
Jay Wright has stepped down from CBS and TNT Sports to focus on his new role as special assistant to the president at Villanova.
Oh, that's good to have him back in the program because, when he left, they haven't been the same. So
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And finally, tonight is the big Powerball drawing estimated at $1 billion. The drawing is tonight, and if there is no winner, or if there is, the next drawing would be on Monday. To those who bought tickets, good luck. $1 billion on the line in tonight's Powerball.
Yeah, good luck. You're going to need it. You're going to need it.
You're going to need it indeed. All right, Jim, it's all yours.
All right, I got a few, and we saw kind of a great sports story because we talked about it, and I always said I like the guy Tommy Fleetwood, and he's always competitive, always in the mix, but he never crossed that finish line. And after 164 PGA starts, not only does he win his first PGA Tour event, but he also wins the FedEx Cup by winning the Tour Championship, and great story, nice kid. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bring him up in a moment because he's going to be playing against the U.S. in the Ryder Cup. But absolutely great story. Very happy for the guy. He's been nothing but class throughout his whole career, and I think that was great. Enjoyed watching it. And Eli, we talked a little bit about, last week was the Travers, and Sovereignty certainly didn't disappoint. Ran away with it, and the question always arises. I believe he was a Triple Crown quality horse, and he's been winning. All the races that he's been in, but he didn't run the Preakness. But that sets the stage for a possible rematch with Journalism in the Breeders' Cup coming up. So,
yeah.
Great horse, great horse. And one thing, we just talked a little bit about the Ryder Cup. So, as I had discussed last week, I said Keegan Bradley will not pick himself. It would be suicide politically if he did it and they didn't win, and that would be egg all over his face. So, he erred on the side of caution, and his captain's picks are Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, kind of no surprise there. Sam Burns. Maybe the next guy's Ben Griffin, kind of a surprise.
Possibly, right?
But he's been playing really, really well this year. And Cameron Young, same kind of thing. So he's on, and Patrick Cantley. But I think Keegan made the right choice by letting him, sit out and just run that team and captain that team instead of focusing on playing. And if they didn't win the Ryder Cup, all the fingers would be pointing at him. Great move.
Yeah.
So certainly wanted to bring that up. All right, so Eli, I'm good on Random Point.
All right, well, now it's time for Photos and Foods, sponsored by Vital Selection. Scan the QR code to learn more. Our new segment is back. Favorite restaurant recommendation. I'm going to go with Chili's this week. Love Chili's, love their chips and salsa. But I'm also a fan of Applebee's too. That's another good one too. But Chili's is my recommendation for this week. Let us know in the comments your restaurant pick for the week.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd go with Applebee's, I think. But
yeah, Applebe's was good. Yeah,
I
like Applebee's. They have good steak. I like their
Olive Garden's not bad either. To be honest with you,
I haven't been to an Olive Garden in so long.
Oh no, it's actually pretty good.
Guy Criano says Candlelight Tavern, best wings on planet.
Wow. And right. I don't know where the Candlelight Tavern is, but I guess if you just look it up online and take our sponsor's recommendation, because I am a chicken wing aficionado. So if he says they're good, we're
going to try it out. Well, that is great. And again, we're loving this new segment. So let us know your food pick. We'll have another food pick next week on the show.
And I know Eli's not a sushi guy. And for most of my life, I wasn't either, but I've grown to like it. there's a restaurant around the corner from us called Blossoms, and from a sushi perspective, it's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
So if you're ever in the area, stop by
Yeah.
and visit them. They're very nice people that run the restaurant, and the food is excellent.
Guy Coriano says it's in Yonkers.
Oh, well, means
All
I'll
right.
never be there. I don't think I've ever been in Yonkers.
All right.
But I know Guy takes that path on his routes for his
Yeah.
trucking company. So maybe one day he'll pick up a dozen wings for me and drop them off at my house on his way
Right,
back.
and I'm close, so you can. I'm in right next to the bridge, so stop on by.
And he did have his birthday last week, so
Well, happy
I'm
birthday
happy
about
for
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's some photos.
Okay, Eli. This is a new horse, and the irony here is my grandson's youngest grandson is named Hudson, and that's Hudson Reserve. I had an opportunity to meet him. He's the horse of one of my old college roommates, and had a good picture taken with him. He did bite me though, but that's all
Okay.
right. It's kind of a love tap, but pretty cool picture though.
Yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful looking horse.
I love that
And
photo.
here's my grandson Logan. Guess where these guys went? They went to the
Little
Little
League
League
World Series
college, Little League World Series out. And
at ESPN
so,
Big Track.
he's a baseball junkie. It's him and his friend Matthew, and they had a wonderful time. And there they are, him and his friends out there. What an atmosphere. It's kind of a bucket list for young kids like Logan and so forth. So I'm glad they had a great, great time.
Yeah, and here's the next one. I got one more as well.
And I think I have one more picture.
Mm-hmm. Jim, you
Okay.
still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me, Eli?
Now, yeah, we can.
All right. So this is a picture, and it's very funny because he grew up in Oakland, New Jersey, where I grew up with, and he went to school with my brothers, and I was friends with his younger brother. But this is Scott Frank, who had an opportunity to fight Larry Holmes for the heavyweight championship of the world, and unfortunately, it didn't go very well. But that's an interesting character for sure. Former New Jersey State heavyweight champion who beat Chuck Wepner, also known as the Bayonne Bleeder, for the New Jersey title, and that gave him an opportunity to fight for the title. And like I said, it didn't go well, but hey, he had a chance, right?
Yeah. Well, last week I had one more photo. I had a chance to go see Mamma Mia back on Broadway at the Winter Garden Theater. Really good. I don't know. It's one of my favorites, I think, now. I'm a big fan of the ABBA music and stuff, and really good Broadway show. So if you have a chance to see it, it's Mamma Mia. It's at the Winter Garden Theater up until February. It's a limited edition run. Just came back in August, a couple weeks ago, so I was happy to go see it. Really
Wow.
good. Go check it out, Mamma Mia on Broadway.
Oh, I know you do a lot of Broadway. I know
Yeah.
that. Awesome. Good pick.
All right. And let's get to some little passings, unfortunately.
Okay, Eli. I have a couple here, and one's from the world of entertainment from maybe what I think is the best show that's ever been on television, The Sopranos. And Jerry Adler was 96. He played the role of Hesh, one of Tony Soprano's confidant, guys and so forth. And very, very funny character. He had great lines throughout the show, and yeah, that's a big loss from entertainment because he really was an interesting character on one of the greatest shows ever. Yeah. And I have another one from the world of sports. It's Randy Moffett, and Randy Moffett was 76. And I remember Randy Moffett pitching in the 70s and the early 80s, and had some sort of a parasite thing that really took him down, and he did bounce back from that, but played for 10 seasons for the San Francisco Giants, and he's also notable as that's Billie Jean King's younger brother. So
well, I have two more. Former Eagles general manager Jim Murray has passed away at the age of 87. He was also the co-founder of the Ronald McDonald House. He was born in 1938. And finally, the children who were killed in the horrific shooting in a church in Minneapolis. It really is such a tragedy to see. It's another shooting, unfortunately, and now it affected a church, which is even
Uh,
horrible to think about and see. And our
yes.
thoughts and prayers as well, and especially kids. You hate to see
Yeah,
it.
no, it's just heartbreaking to hear that we have to see this thing time and time again, and these poor kids and
Mhm.
innocent, and they just uh, I don't
Yeah,
know what to explain, but yes, Eli, you're
yeah,
right. Our thoughts and prayers are with those families for sure. I
absolutely.
just have one other quick note. September 1st is my daughter Nicole's birthday coming up on
All right,
Monday, and also
so
uh,
Labor Day.
right, but also Emily Monahan, who is my brother Steven's daughter. His birthday is also September 1st. So happy birthday to you, Emily. Too.
Happy birthday to everybody, and happy Labor Day weekend as well to
Yes.
everybody. You got an extra day off, so that is great for everybody who gets that
Mhm.
day off. And you have plenty of football to watch college wise this week, and we're ready for the NFL to kick off on Thursday. We are back, and I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. And by the way, we do have a programming note for next week. We'll be live at 9 o'clock next week. As of right now, could go to 10 depending on how everything goes. But right now, 9 o'clock next week.
All right, because that depends on whether Eli's calling the Seton Hall game, right?
No, St. Mary's.
St. Mary's game. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we will
Keep
keep
forget.
most as right now. It's either gonna be 9 or 10. We're looking at 9 though for right now for next Saturday.
Okay, and
So
we'll
stay
let you know.
for
But we
updates.
had just a great week of comments and viewership, and
Absolutely.
reach out to Brendan Conley sent us another couple of messages, and
Yeah.
very very nice young man. And like I said, he enjoys our show. He enjoys the insight. We had a lot of stuff to cover today,
Yes, we
but
did.
we did get it in. And so everybody go out, enjoy your Saturday, enjoy the football games, and Eli, I will see you next week
All
right
right, everyone.
here.
Have a great weekend. Enjoy the holiday. Take care.
Take care. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.